I wanted to talk to you a little bit about different genres of music. You've worked in a lot of different genres. You talked about your time in Nashville before. You talked about your time, going to other countries to record and recording with artists from different countries that have come here. Um, how is it that all of those different genres, while the fans may not be aware of the different genres at that point, they only pay attention to who they like, Phil
Yeah.
Collins or Dwight Yoakam or whoever. Uh, how did it seem to you? Was it all? It's all music, right? It's all the same kind of thing, isn't it?
For the most part, in general, if I'm going to be called for something, it's going to be somewhat within the pop idiom, no matter what country it is. And so much of the music, if it wasn't for the language of the lyrics, you could be in any country. It really wouldn't matter. And then it really comes down to, and a lot of the phrasing is almost the same. It's just the actual language is different. But when like I spent years working with Veronique Sanson, who is like the Joni Mitchell, Carole King of France. She was married to
Right.
Stephen Stills back in the set. Well, nobody here knows who the hell Vero is except some diehard fans. Yet you go over there and she's as huge a star as you would ever see. Worked with Anna Visi, who's like the Madonna of Greece, but nobody knows who Anna Visi is over here. When I work with Yumi Matsutoya in Japan, she's so huge. It's unbelievable. And I've done like 20 albums with her over the years. We started working in the early 70s and she's still, I mean, it's one of those things with her, like when she goes on tour, they'll book a month in the Tokyo Dome and she'll sell out a month in the Tokyo Dome. Then they go to the biggest venue in Kyoto and they sell out a month there. Then they go to the biggest venue in Nagoya. And I remember I was working at the Blue Note in Tokyo with Van Dyke Parks and Grant Geisman. We did a trio thing for a while. And Yuming was in rehearsals for her upcoming tour. And she said, "You want to come see the rehearsal?" Well, if you took Pink Floyd and Genesis and Kiss and all those kind of acts and rolled them into one, would pale in comparison to her production on it. Um, they had a Russian circus, they had Olympic athletes on stage, a swimming pool. I mean, it was unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. And I remember talking to her husband, who's her co-writer and keyboard player and producer, Manta, and I was talking to him, and we were talking about Phil Collins's 1990 tour, where our stage was a giant carousel. And he goes, "We bought it. It's in the warehouse. We're going to figure out how to use it at some point." I mean, but nobody here has any idea yet.
Right.
They are, and they'll work 6 months solid and then take 6 months off. And she goes and treks around the world and does stuff, and he works on other projects. So, it's one of these things when I get called to work with guys from, it's like having just done the Larry Basilio album, the guitarist from Brazil. And, every time I turn around, you find some of these different artists from Mexico and Argentina and Australia. And I go, this is cool. Every time I just go, because it really keeps your horizons really broad and it makes you really appreciate the global music community. It's not
Yeah.
all little thing here. And that was really the first experience of that. What really was that English invasion of the 60s, when all of a sudden you had these acts coming into this country who, if it hadn't been for that happening, you would have just been listening to Elvis and Chuck
Right.
Berry and stuff over here. But it became a
No Dave
global,
Clark 5.
yeah, yeah, but it became a
No
global.
Kinks. I heard a Kinks song on the radio yesterday, and I thought, man, this is really. I mean, it was like 1965 or 66,
Oh man, got
And I
Freddie
thought
and the
back.
Dreamers, Freddie and the Dreamers out there doing the Freddie and all
Right.
the, yeah, I
Right.
mean, wow.